Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Off Topical Podcast, episode 46. Is that right, Raven?
It is. It is the 46th episode.
46 episodes. This is crazy. This week, we're talking about the Librem 5 August update, which came out, I believe, this morning. We also have Valve making an oopsie and banning a security researcher from actually being able to report his research. And a whole lot more, including unprecedented stupidity from Apple and a bunch of YouTube news. All this and more today. If you haven't already, we have a YouTube channel now. There's a video of me on the screen if you're watching the video version. It's a good time. We're going to be talking about and showing the stories that we're actually talking about on the show. So head over to YouTube and search the Off Topical Podcast. All right, the first story we've got today, Raven, is the Librem 5 August update. Did you have a chance to read this?
I did 2 days ago when it appeared, and I don't remember where I saw it, actually. I remember getting to it, though, but I don't remember where I got to it.
Did it go up a couple days ago? I swear I was looking for it.
Yeah, it's been 2 days now. August 21st, dude.
What?
Right? I know. I was stoked, man. I got all excited, and I was like, oh, man.
Yeah, I got excited as soon as I saw it.
Right, because, it's in fairness, when you read the notes, it's nothing really that exciting, I suppose. Because, it's just a bunch of new, well, it's not even new. It's just a bunch of software that they're updating and fixing. But this means that the Librem 5 is almost here.
Yeah, we've got like a month before quarter 3 is out. And so that's when it's supposed to launch.
I don't think they're going to hit the end of quarter 3. I think it'll be sometime in quarter 4.
I believe that they're going to hit quarter 3.
I don't. But it's cool because it's like, whatever. Because, I mean, like, this update literally proves that they're getting close. And it also gives me confidence that it will not have so many bugs because, well, the August update is literally just, look at all the new fixes and changes to all the applications, which is, awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean,
because,
go ahead.
The GNOME, mobile version, which is basically what they're using for pretty much everything.
Yeah.
It's never really been battle tested before. Like, yeah, the GNOME team's been working on it and they have some really talented people. But anyone who remembers the iOS and Android launch knows that that's not enough. That's not nearly enough.
Right.
It's not enough. So, they're definitely probably going to have more stuff to fix, especially after launch. Now, granted, they're not starting completely from scratch. The knowledge of the past is definitely helping them. But a lot of these changes from people who have access to the hardware to people who have been testing it on other devices looks like it's really helping. Because this just looks like a lot of quality of life changes, which is awesome, by the way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think it's fantastic. Because, again, it means we're close, and it means we're going to get a much more superior product. Honestly, if it was delayed until say January of 2020, it would disappoint me a little bit. But if it kept churning out quality of life and bug fixes, I'd be okay with it.
See, here's the thing.
But I do want my phone already. I really want my phone.
I can't say a whole lot. I know a couple things. But I'm pretty damn sure that they're going to hit... they're going to deliver the phones pretty soon. And...
well, they better.
Then. Yeah, it's going to... I mean, basically what the phones, as far as I know, the actual hardware is done. And...
well, that's good.
So what they're focusing on now is... the actual software aspect.
Yeah,
and they're trying to nail,
part.
If you're reading these posts, they're just trying to nail down and get these, core applications like calls and messaging and, the web browser into a stable and ready to use state for the end product. And
I'm not really a fan of Epiphany, though, for a web browser. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I really don't like fine. Epiphany.
The thing about Epiphany is that it's integrated into the environment, right? And it's there are problems with Epiphany. I do like it, And I think that Epiphany will be good, especially for installing. What would you call
Firefox.
it? No, I'm thinking like installing progressive web apps. Yeah. Shush your mouth. Progressive web apps are how we're going to have access to all kinds of like mainstream apps. You know, most of the apps that are on Android that aren't like actual hardcore games, many of them are progressive web apps.
Yeah, and guess what? They all suck.
But what that means is that we
like
are
how you
still
don't even
going to have the
dispute it.
first class smartphone experience.
No, I know. I just
Web apps are the future, my friend.
I know, and
Someone-
unfortunately, that is such an unfortunate side effect.
Someone should just make an operating system that's literally just a browser.
Oh God, Google already did that. And it sucks. Ugh. You know, Google had that idea, and it's so bad that now they're making it so you can just install normal Linux on it.
Yeah.
That is how bad of an idea it is.
Oh yeah.
Ugh. You know, it's funny. I actually have a Chrome OS book. I actually really have one.
Do you?
Yeah, and you know how much I paid for it? $450
Like $80
too. No, I paid $450.
How many?
$450.
What? Why?
It's a really nice Chromebook.
Is it the Pixel?
Hell no.
Okay.
It's from HP, actually. I believe it's HP.
All
It
right.
was either HP or Dell. I'm pretty certain it was HP. Whatever. It has a Tegra K1, you know, the Maxwell Tegra.
Okay.
And I got it years and years ago because I was working on stuff, and I was like, I want something, dude, the only thing I will say about it is that machine, because, you know, it has like a normal, proper laptop battery with like a freaking tablet, you know, sock. So it runs like 12 hours before it dies.
Damn.
Like full capacity. It runs like forever.
That's impressive.
I don't use it anymore. I actually really don't use it anymore. I probably should because the hardware is just fine. I mean, it's like 4 gigs of RAM, and you know, it's a Maxwell. Like, so it has like, you know, you can install like full-on Linux on it and download the NVIDIA drivers, and it'll function. It, you know, it supports Vulkan, so I mean, you know. But yeah, that was a long time ago, and Google has burned a lot of bridges with me over the past decade or so.
Yeah.
You know, so
Well, they're not trustworthy, and that's why I'm getting a Librem 5. Also, because it's just
we're
cool.
getting a Librem 5. We are getting a Librem 5.
Yeah, yeah.
How dare you leave me out of that?
You and
I
I
am stoked.
are getting a
Yeah,
Librem
that's
5.
better. Yeah, it's much better. Much better. So excited.
Dude.
And like I said, you know, this update, and you said it too, is like they're nailing it. One thing that is weird though, GNOME doesn't look like a phone operating system. You know what I mean?
Dude.
I like that part. I wasn't like, I'm not dissing it for that, but I've been looking at the screenshots for like the Librem and whatever GNOME calls its mobile version. I'm sure it has a name. I don't know it.
I think it's just GNOME.
No,
They have
whatever. I mean, that's cool.
Purism has the Foch compositor.
Yeah, but I mean, you know. So anyway, my point was more, it's really weird how they managed to like take Linux GNOME and put it on a phone and kind of still give it that same GNOME vibe. Like, the first thing I want to do is install the Yaru theme, because the Yaru theme is awesome and Idwata, or however the hell you say it, is awful and should be ashamed. I don't like that
Raven.
theme. It's too white.
I need you to
It's too much
apologize
white.
to our audience because you just
No, it's
lied
too
to
much
them.
white.
You lied to them.
Lied to them about what?
You said that you want to install the Yaru theme. Themes do
Yes.
not exist in GNOME.
Oh, for God's sakes! Don't even get me
don't.
started on that
They
crap.
don't exist.
Oh, I know they don't.
That's
but
like saying
it is what it is.
That's literally like saying I'm going to install a theme for Facebook.com. That's not how it works.
Technically, they do have themes, and there is technically a theme switcher, even if it is the hackiest thing on the planet.
It's a hack. It's not a theme.
Yeah, well, you know what? I don't care.
Okay.
The Yaru looks a lot better than Idwata, or however you say it. Is that how you say it? That's how I'm saying it.
Adwaita. I don't know how to pronounce it either.
I don't. It's just, I know it's hideous.
I love it. I think that it's gorgeous, and I'm
It's
super
too much white.
You can put on the dark theme, quote unquote. Come on, dude.
Yaru is better.
Yeah.
But that's great because that's really my only holdup with it. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
I just too much white. Like, other than that, it looks beautiful. Like, look at these screenshots.
Oh,
like,
I know.
everyone listening should, like, pull it up if you can. Unless you're driving,
Well,
like
we
a
have
certain someone.
we have a link to this actual story where you can see the posts.
Yeah.
In the
like,
forums.
It looks really beautiful. Really nice. And you know what else? Epiphany is so much better on a smartphone than Firefox or Chrome. And you know why? Because I don't have to go to a hidden sub-menu to go forward or back.
Right.
I hate that. You know, Firefox even took away the ability to go forward for some reason.
What? On the phone?
Yeah. Yeah. Or no. Was that Chrome? It was one of them.
I don't know.
It might have been Chrome. No, Firefox has it. I just pulled up my phone. One of them changed something. Oh, I know. They moved it to a hidden sub-menu, which really ticked me off. Because it's like, and I on the one hand, I do get it, right? Because you don't have a lot of horizontal space and you have a lot of vertical. No. So, like, you want to take advantage of that. And, like, you don't want everything, like, because you can't have really small icons. Like, that's the worst part about designing anything for a smartphone. Like, you can't have a lot of small icons or stuff because there's not enough precision because touchpad sensitivity.
Right.
So, and don't get me wrong, they are really good these days, but they're not good enough to support, like, a normal operating system. Like, anyone that run, like, full Linux on a phone before knows it's practically impossible to use it without a mouse. So, anyway, yeah, I mean, it looks so much better. Like, look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Look at Epiphany.
It's gorgeous. We're looking at it on the video version right now.
Yeah, and the other thing too, I just want Firefox on there. And I know that sounds kind of.
This is the issue with
Firefox.
This is the issue with Firefox, right? It's like with
big.
GTK apps. First of all, they can be customized relatively easily to accommodate a screen like this. With Firefox, they would literally have to fork the project and refactor the rendering, like the Chrome rendering, the browser Chrome, that like for a smartphone, and that's just not.
They shouldn't, because it already exists on Android, so they shouldn't have to.
Yeah, but it does. Firefox doesn't actually exist on Android. Firefox on Android is based on Chrome.
I don't think so. I think it uses Servo.
I think we need to figure this out now.
Yeah, I mean, I know the iOS version uses WebKit because, I mean, Apple forced them to do that because that's Apple's rules. You have to use the same version of WebKit that everyone else does, which is just moronic. But whatever, Apple, you go be you. But I'm fairly certain Firefox on Android uses whatever that version of Firefox is. It's either Servo or Gecko. And besides, if it was WebKit, then it's already supported anyway. Thanks, because Epiphany's just using the bare bones WebKit anyway. Whoops.
Yeah, I'm not sure. For some reason, I feel like I read somewhere that
you might have mixed it up with iOS, because iOS does use WebKit and has to use WebKit because of Apple. Apple forces them to, but I think on Android they use their own. All I can say is that it works a lot better than Chrome, which is really weird on Android. So, and I find that to be very weird. Because you would think Google would do a good job, but I think here lately they've been so focused on preventing ad blockers that they forgot that they were making a web browser.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's also really cool that they have the initial setup screen. It looks really nice.
It does.
You know the best part?
What?
It's like 4 things and then you're done. 4 things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, set it up Android takes like 20 minutes.
Give us your credit card information. Like that's a thing on Android.
Yeah,
and on iOS.
And the stupid. Oh, and the other thing that I like that they do, everything's a button. So, and what I mean by that is, like, when you sign up for stuff on like a lot of different stuff, like whether it's a Windows machine or you install like your smartphone, you ever notice how like the current strategy is to like if you want to like skip and not do this step, they don't make it a button, they make it a text link.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Oh, me too. That's a dark
I really
pattern.
hate that. It is, yeah, and it's so deceptive. Or my personal favorite, they'll make it a button, but it's grayed out until you click it. I love that one. Anyway,
Yeah.
they don't do that. They just have like these two buttons, and you just pick which one you want and hit next, and then you have your privacy. Am I going to do automatic problem reporting? No. Am I going to do location services? No.
Right.
But look at how smooth it is. It's just, you just click the two little radio buttons, and then you hit next, and you're good to go. Like, you're ready.
Yep.
You're just set up. Oh, I love it.
It's
so
it's
excited.
gorgeous, dude. I am so
for it, man.
effing excited for this phone. And I mean the updates in this month's update thing is impressive. Like I mean it's a lot of like small like quality of life things, but like just being able to use like the back button is like context sensitive now, and it's easy to implement for developers. So you can like paginate into a new screen in your GTK app and then hit the back button and go back to where you were. Like just quality of life for end users and developers. The ability to place calls and start chat messages from the contacts menu. You know what I'm saying? Just these little things. Being able to handle SMS messages while Chatty isn't open. Like little things like that are just obviously that have to be there for a phone to actually work as a phone. But like that you don't think about these things. You know what I'm saying? Like you think, oh, how hard is it to actually have, you know, how hard is it to make like a smartphone operating system? It's not trivial, dude. And like people give Purism crap, and sometimes they're like, oh my God, why would I pay $600 for a phone like this? It's like, you're not just paying for the phone. You're paying for these developers to spend their time, you know, to make a living building this as free software. Like this is like hugely important.
And it's not even backported to GNOME. They're literally working at the same time with the GNOME project. So, you know, everyone else benefits from this too. Like,
oh yeah. How many other like Linux powered smartphones are going to be available after, you know, Pure OS comes out, because, you know, Purism did the work. You know what I'm saying? Like I seriously doubt that what's that, the Pine phone is not going to use any of the code that Purism is creating here. Like
oh yeah, absolutely, because they're just using a stock version of whatever version of GNOME they're using. I don't actually know which version it is, but the thing is, GNOME is not exactly the lightest weight desktop environment. It's really not. It's quite a bit of a, how to put this delicately, it's a bit of a RAM whore. Yeah.
Oh jeez.
Yeah.
Well,
but it is like, that's a very common, I know the GNOME project itself gets a lot of flack in that exact word usage too, even. But there's a reason for it, because it's true. Like it does use a lot. It looks nice. And there are some design choices that led up to that amount of RAM usage. It's still less than Windows because, I mean, we're still Linux people here. But, you know, phones have limited hardware. So I'm hoping that maybe, you know, a lot of these changes, a lot of these improvements to get it run really good will also translate in the future to desktop.
Right. Well,
because I would like a lighter GNOME.
The last release of GNOME actually had like several performance improvements that like seriously speeded up the environment. And
yeah, and I'm wondering if it has to do with the fact that GNOME has been working really hard to be viable on a phone.
I think so. I really do.
I hope so. Because the RAM part isn't necessarily that big of a deal. I mean, it is a big deal on a phone with only 3 gigs of RAM. But on most modern machines where like the common denominator is 8 gigs of RAM, it sucks that it uses that much, but it's not going to break you, you know?
Right.
You know, maybe unless, of course, you're playing some Minecraft mod that needs like 12 gigs of RAM. But other than that, typically, yes.
Will Java Minecraft work on Librem 5?
You can get Java on there. Getting the Minecraft version on would require you to write an OpenGL ES renderer. But there is the Raspberry Pi version. That version might be portable.
But does that version like support playing on like the heavy element Minecraft server? I don't think it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite a bit outdated.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a much earlier version of Minecraft. It's basically like creative mode only, so it's built perfectly for you. But yeah, I mean, like, if you solve the renderer problem, it should work. I mean, I say should, but, cough, cough. I mean, it's still Linux, technically, and, yeah, if you can get... I mean, you would also have to replace on any of the dependencies with, the ARM appropriate ones. But I don't think Minecraft really has that many dependencies.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, it'd probably be easier to get mine test because the source is open, but I mean, I guess in theory you could hack your way around it. I mean, it would be quite a pain, but
I don't know. I'm gonna try it.
yeah, I mean, outside of the lightweight Java game library, I actually don't know what Minecraft uses for a dependency because it uses the lightweight Java game library and like a few things that are included with the project. As far as I know, it doesn't use anything else. I mean, it's Minecraft. It's not like it's using a physics system. It's not like it's using anything special for the networking. It's just standard Java sockets. Like, it's using OpenAL for audio. Like, it's like, like, I can't really imagine it's using anything, like, proprietary that wouldn't be possible. But, yeah, I mean, if it was open source, absolutely, because you could just, rewrite it. But someday someone might just make a Minecraft for the Librem 5.
That'd be cool.
Never know. That would be cool. Not in JavaScript though. You need to be more efficient with it because yeah.
All right.
Hey, you only got 3 gigs of RAM, man. You gotta be smart about it.
Right.
And I also like the terminal. The fact that it comes built in with a terminal is just awesome.
Hell yeah, dude. I had to install Citrus SSH on my Android phone. And I was like...
Terrible?
Huh?
Is it terrible?
It's not very good. Yeah. But it does automatically log in for you, so you don't have to type your password a bunch.
Oh, nice. That's nice. Well, that's good. That is good.
Yeah.
It seems that they also included a lot of new power management features.
It does. I saw that. The power management, they're injecting, what are they? Thermal sleep commands. Is that right? Where am I seeing this? What is it called again? Thermal something or other.
Yeah, and they're gonna have spend and resume apparently at some point, which is nice. It's gonna throttle now. The CPU throttles now instead of just shutting off when it reaches critical temp.
Yeah.
That's really nice. I mean, my phone does that, like, all the time, throttles down, because, how dare I use it?
Right.
Yeah, I know. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a really, really fast phone, and it has a lot of horsepower, but it's so thin. It's like if it was, like, 5 centimeters thicker, hell, even 2 centimeters thicker, it would have so much more thermal displacement compared to this thin phone. And that's another thing I like about the Librem. It's not all that thin, which is nice. I'm hoping it, has a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah, me too. I'd also
I don't want my fingertips burning off when I'm trying to type.
Right. I'm hoping that I have a USB Type-C dongle. It has like HDMI out. It has USB Type A 3.2 ports, I believe.
Nice.
It has an Ethernet jack on it. I'm hoping that I can just 3D print a little thing so I can like plug that into my Librem 5 and then have that plugged into a monitor and, a mouse and keyboard or something and be able to just instantly convert.
If they would make a dock, that would be amazing.
Oh my God.
I'd buy that in a heartbeat.
Dude, a dock would be amazing.
You need at least 2 USB ports, HDMI out, and that's it. Unrelated. Have you seen Asus? Sorry, not Asus. You saw the Samsung thing with Samsung's DeX.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Like, I'm not really a fan of well, I actually am a fan of Samsung's phones. I just don't like Google or Android or Samsung either. But anyway, the phones are nice. Like, they're very, you know, at least their high end models are pretty nice quality. But Dex is really cool. Like, full blown Linux on your device. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Like, that's awesome. And I know that's been a work in progress since like the S5 or S6, and it's finally started to take shape. And they have a dock for it, and it's really rad. You just plug it in. It has like 3 USB ports, I think, too, something like that.
Yeah.
An HDMI out and a power port, so you can charge the thing while you're using it. I'm like, that is awesome, because you know the phone goes into sleep, and with the screen off, it's using less power, and two, it's not getting as hot. So, you know, and then you just use your phone. Because honestly, remember when Canonical was making their phone, and they were touting as they were gonna make like, you know, you can plug it up at a station and then pick it up and take it home and plug it up. You know, it's like it's like a true. Because I mean, you know, some of these new smartphones, the hardware in them is fast enough to do pretty much anything we want to do.
Yeah. You know,
I mean,
convergence is what they called it with 1.2.
Yeah, and that's a really awesome future. And because you know, like watching some modern phone games, like the really high end ones, you know, they look better than most Xbox 360 titles.
Yeah.
And they're
true.
like approaching like PlayStation 4 and Xbox One quality. Like some of them are getting really good looking. Like if you have the phone hardware and you crank up the settings, like you can get some pretty nice quality out of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the gameplay on it's any good, but
Probably not. It's probably.
well, some of it might be. I know Madfinger Games, they make Shadowgun Legends, which is basically like Destiny but for a smartphone.
Yeah.
I play that every now and again because it's actually pretty fun.
Nice.
I mean, it's just like I said, it's literally just Destiny but for a smartphone, and it's actually pretty fun. Like, I'm serious. Like, it's actually pretty fun every now and again.
Does it have like microtransactions and stuff?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. I wouldn't play that.
Well, the company's pretty famous for having like really good microtransactions. So really, you can play the whole game and never have to purchase anything. I've only purchased one time because to get the inventory unlock, you have to buy something. So I bought the cheapest thing, and like whatever, it was like $2 or something, and then my inventory fully unlocked, and never bought anything since really. Because I don't care about all the cosmetic stuff, but like, there's no like, you know, super rare, mega awesome gun, and you buy it, and now you can just murder everyone. No, it doesn't have that. I mean, I think you can actually get stuff like that, but like the game itself is set up so that really, if you want the best stuff, you just have to grind, because it's like Destiny, so you just grind and grind and grind. So it's not really my thing, but every now and again, it's nice to play. There are a couple good phone games like that. Madfinger makes a lot of like really fun little stuff like that. Where their games are just, yeah, they're one, and they make money. You know, they're not dickheads like most companies. I hope the Librem gets a phone like that, because honestly, games will probably make or break the Librem 5. I know that sounds weird, and you know, privacy is great and all, but Purism needs the phone to like become not mainstream but popular. And I don't think there's enough paranoid people out there to justify the popularity of the Librem 5.
I don't know.
Longevity of it.
To be honest, I think that there's actually a bigger market of people who are willing to try alternative phones.
Yeah, but not for $700. They're not. Like, that's the thing. Like, a lot of people are tired of their Android phones, but when you compare the hardware, because, you know, that's what people look at. Like, just saying. When you compare the hardware between a $700 Samsung and a $700 Librem, the Samsung's always going to win. And so they're gonna be like, okay, well, I want the privacy aspect of the Librem. So then they're going to be like, okay, what's available for me? Because, you know, that's another really important thing. It's not just games. You know, productivity. Like, people use their phones for everything. So,
which I don't understand.
I know, but we're maybe, you know, we're the minority in this new world. As far as, you know, what we use phones for. Because, like, my phone, you know, hasn't been turned on all day today until I just turned it on just now to check Firefox. And it's 4:04 p.m. on the East Coast. So, I mean, I haven't turned on my phone all day because I don't use it and no one has called me. So
Yeah.
yeah, it turns out I'm not really all that big on using my phone. But anyway, again, like I was saying, like games, people like having games on their phone. Like people like having, productivity. Like, is LibreOffice going to be ported? Because if it is, that's going to be rad.
Yeah.
Like someone needs to do that. Not me, but someone. I don't want to do it. It's too much work.
I'm trying
LibreOffice is big, man. Like, I don't want to touch that project.
No way. I wouldn't do that. I've used
But-
my phone for 45 minutes today. Just a fun
Wow,
fact.
you've used it more than me. I've used it for less than a minute.
Yeah. I wanted to just put that out there.
Oh, thank you.
Anyway, I think we've thoroughly exhausted this story. What do you think?
I don't know, dude. The Librem is amazing.
It's
truly
dude,
wonderful.
I am so stoked for this thing. And people sometimes have asked me like, why are you so stoked for it? Like what, it just seems like an open source smartphone. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the idea. Like, it's so exciting to me to know that I'm going to have a smartphone with software that isn't spying on me, that isn't listening into my conversations, that isn't trying to track if I'm paying attention to advertisements on the television or not. That makes me excited. Anyway, I want to know what you guys think. What do you guys think about the Librem 5? Have you seen this latest news story, this latest update from Purism? Head over to the forums, forum.heavyelement.io. Let us know what you think in the show notes. It's always a fun time to have a conversation in there, isn't it? All right, here we go. Valve says that turning away a researcher was a big mistake for them. Did you read this story?
I did, and I didn't feel like it was malicious. I feel like it was one giant misunderstanding.
Yeah, that was the impression that I got.
Because a lot of people were like, look how, like they already raised their pitchforks and their, torches before like anything had really come out. But if you read the Ars Technica article, it really just seems like when they say a mistake, they don't mean like it was a mistake to turn him away. They mean like it was a mistake and that he was turned away. Like it wasn't their intention. And when the second person tried to disclose it as well, and they've since corrected the issue.
Yeah.
So, which is good. Like, it wasn't an issue before, and then when it became an issue, they didn't know. And, I think it's great that, it's fun to give Valve a lot of crap, but at least they do own up to their mistakes, and they correct them when they do actually speak at some point.
But did they own up to Dota?
Well, they said it was their mistake. Like,
oh, no, I wasn't talking about this. I was talking about that Dota card game. Did they own up to that card game?
Well, it didn't make any money, so I would say that's probably the best you're going to get. So, I mean, it kind of bled cash. Dota Underlords is doing pretty good, though.
I've heard that, yeah.
The card game is... I'm going to talk about that card game for a second. If they would just make that thing free to play, they'd make so much money.
Probably.
If you could earn cards and plus buy cards, that game would make a fortune. Because as a card game, it's actually really fun.
I didn't
as
get
a card
into it
game.
at all.
It's fun. As a card game, it looked like a lot of fun. And it shot itself in the foot because you have to spend so much money to get a good deck. But anyway, back to this hacker thing. Yeah, to me, it just... Like, I don't really have too much to say on this one other than, he reported it. And then it kind of feels like HackerOne was the one who kind of stepped in and was like, no.
Yeah, so...
Like, it wasn't really Valve, which is weird.
Right, so what seems to have happened is that... Valve hires HackerOne to kind of work as like a front man for issuing, for receiving bug reports and vulnerability disclosures, and then they also HackerOne determines if the vulnerability is like conforms to Valve's rules, right? Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes.
So the way that it works is HackerOne or Valve laid out the rules of what constitutes a vulnerability that's eligible or within bounds of receiving a bounty, and there was a misunderstanding between Valve and the HackerOne team. And so
Right. As in the HackerOne team didn't even check with Valve. I mean, they just like Valve laid out some rules and they just checked with that and then they were like, "Shoo, go away." And the guy was like, "I don't want money. I just want this vulnerability. I want people to be aware of it." And then they told him to go check their disclosure report guidelines and it was like,
yeah,
"Now you're just being an ass."
that was
At
the
that
second
point,
guy, right?
no, it's the first guy.
Oh, yeah, right. That was the first guy. The first guy said, "I just want people to be aware of it," and they said, "Nah, just go check the rules because you're not allowed to do that." And
Yeah, and that's and in fairness, I understand that they won't give out the reports if it's outside of the scope, but it doesn't feel like they contacted Valve. Like if there was some dispute with the policy, you would think that they would just go, okay, well, you know what, you found the exploit, and it kind of goes against the policy that Valve has set for us. Let's just shoot an email because how hard would it have been to shoot over an email to Valve and be like, hey, and just lay out what happened, what he said, the exploit. And Valve would be like, oh shit, yes, all right, we'll amend it, just accept it, and we'll fix it.
yeah,
And they just kind of were like, no, like they spoke for Valve, and I understand that Valve hires them and sort of because people are probably always submitting crap, so they're just like, go away, like this is not a vulnerability or whatever, you know how it is.
yeah. So,
But it's like when someone can prove something very seriously happened. Now, granted, I find it funny it only happens on Windows, so whatever.
yeah,
But it's still a problem, and they should have and on all fairness, I don't feel like Valve should really be getting too much flack for this. This is all on HackerOne.
yeah, I think so. I mean, Valve laid out rules that said that they didn't want bugs reported that allowed Steam to launch malware that was installed outside of Steam and run the malware as the current user, right? And so the way that this vulnerability worked, it seemed like, if there was already, an inkling of the hacker, of the attacker having some kind of unprivileged access to the system, they would be able to get deeper access through an exploit in Steam. And HackerOne
Yeah.
didn't understand the intent of Valve's rule, so they banned the second guy that reported this issue. And then in response, this guy released another unknown vulnerability in Steam just a couple days ago. So, yeah. And people, I mean, I think you're right on with the fact that this really isn't Steam or Valve's fault. This is mostly on HackerOne. But at the same time, I think that I read also in this article that.
Well, Valve still hasn't gotten in contact with him either. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I read that Valve have released a patch, but it didn't actually fix the problem, and they were still able to bypass the patch.
Yeah, it just mitigates it, but it doesn't fix it. It's probably a temporary fix, Make it just a little bit more harder while they actually fix the problem.
Yeah.
You remember kind of like how they did with Spectre and what was the other one?
Meltdown.
Yeah, Meltdown. They immediately just threw it under the bus and crushed it. And then a few weeks later, a real fix came out.
Yeah.
Because, some of that stuff's really serious. You gotta do anything you can to make it harder while you work on fixing it. Especially considering he went public with it. It didn't give him any time to fix it.
Right.
So, and I understand because it's a serious problem in HackerOne. So hopefully Valve gets in touch or whatever, gives him what he's due, and whoops, drop that over, knock it over, sorry. Just gets it resolved. Like it seems like Valve acknowledges that it was a mistake on their part, and maybe they'll broaden their guidelines a little bit at HackerOne, and we won't ever see this ever again. I know some people are making a really big deal about it, especially some Epic Game Store fanboys, which is hilarious because I don't think
those exist?
Yeah, there actually are people, I know, right? I don't think anyone who enjoys the Epic Game Store should really be talking about how crappy Valve is. I mean, yes, the Valve client is total trash, but the Epic Game Store set a new bar. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm just hoping it gets fixed because, I don't really like seeing infighting, and I also don't really understand why people are making such a big deal because it was clearly just a oopsie, whoops. It was basically out of their control, and by the time they even knew about it, it had already ballooned into this big thing, and Valve was like, we didn't know. you know, like Valve deserves a lot of the crap they get, especially over the years. But I think in this case, they really didn't do anything wrong. They just got blindsided by the fact that the internet mob just does what it does best, which is just jump on everyone immediately.
Yeah. I mean, the response to this, I mean, there were security researchers who were like, what the hell? But, you know, like we've been saying, I think that this is not really Valve's fault necessarily. And you know that you and I are going to get accused of being Valve fanboys for saying that.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I play so little of games these days that I don't even care anymore. It's like,
If you
I
think I'm a Valve
play games.
fanboy, go check out my YouTube channel. I've called them out many times.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I also called their client a piece of shit just a bit ago.
Yeah.
It is a piece of shit. I'm sorry, Lunduke, but it is.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about this story? Do you think that Valve are in the wrong here? You think this falls more on HackerOne's turf? Let us know in the show notes, forum.heavyelement.io. I'm also on Twitter at the Linux Gamer, and Raven is at Raven67854. It took me a second.
You got it.
All right, Raven, did you hear about the Apple credit card?
When they announced it last year, yes. And also the topic of our story, yes. I had a good laugh with some friends the other day for like 30 minutes about this. This is just the most hilarious thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
The fact that Apple released a credit card that you can't store with your other credit cards, you can't put it unprotected in your denim pants, and you can't put it in a leather wallet is probably the most Apple thing I have ever heard of in my entire effing life.
Which is weird because isn't it made from titanium? Like,
yeah, but it's like powder coated in some kind of like really brittle. It's so stupid, dude. Basically, if you put your Apple card in your denim pants or in a wallet made of leather, guess what's going to happen? It's going to get stained. It's going to get stained. And if you put your Apple card in your purse and there's change or keys or anything like that in your pocket or in your purse, it's going to get scratched all to hell.
Nice.
They can't even make disposable credit cards.
And that's an expensive card too.
Well, I think
the actual
it's free.
physical card costs money. Oh no, they give it to you for free. I'm just saying, like, that card actually costs some money because it's metal. Like,
yeah.
Plastic is way cheaper.
Yeah.
It's like that's why everyone else uses plastic, or I don't know, a stronger metal, or they don't put some stupid finish on it.
Yeah.
You know what they should have put on it, just for shits and giggles, just so they can go this way. Your kids won't put it in their mouth. You know that crap that Nintendo puts on its its little Nintendo Switch games that makes it taste terrible. They should have sprayed the whole card in that.
That sounds like a good idea. I like that idea.
Yeah, I'd be sitting there, licking it like, ugh.
Did you notice also that they changed the layout of the pins for the smart card that's in it?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, like they made it look more Apple-y. Like, instead of it looking like a car, like a smart card or a SIM card's, contacts, it's all like rounded corners and it's very play school.
It's funny because last week we talked about how Apple is getting in trouble because they claim that all their data is, the iCloud is run by them.
Yeah.
And they never said I don't think they ever said it was hosted by them, but they said it's run by them. And technically they are correct. It is run by them. Technically. But I like the fact that they're like, we have our own credit card and all this other crap now. And it's just, it's being propped up by Goldman Sachs.
Oh, yeah.
MasterCard.
You're on.
And
if you go to the landing page, apple.com/apple-card, it says
the card is here.
Apple card is here. Website. You scroll down a little bit. It says a new kind of credit card created by Apple, not a bank. It's backed by Goldman frickin' Sachs and Master frickin' Card, dude. Like,
well, it has to be.
It has to be.
It has to be. In order to make a card, like, Apple's not a bank, so they actually need someone, or they have to set up a bank in order to really do that sort of stuff. Because, you're giving someone credit. Now, in fairness, Apple has an enormous amount of money, and we don't know the details. Like, Goldman Sachs might be handling it as like a service, and they collect a fee every year.
Yeah.
Whether it's through transactions, they get a portion of it, or whether Apple pays them a fixed amount. But for all we know, Apple's having to put up like what? It's $200+ billion. Maybe it has to put up a few billion of that in reserve.
Right.
For actually, the credit lending part.
Yeah.
Because, it's a credit card. So you have to have something to give to someone when someone swipes it and uses it. So someone has to put up that money. So, if Apple's not the one putting up that money, then Goldman Sachs or MasterCard is, or both of them.
Yeah.
In fairness, when they announced it last year, they had said that. Now, I don't know what part of this is by Apple and not by a bank. Like, the look, yeah, clearly a look is... Because, on their page, it even has MasterCard on it. So, and another reason why they probably work with MasterCard is probably just because ease of use.
Yeah, MasterCard.
Because you can use it just about anywhere in the world. It's like Visa, you have Visa or MasterCard, you can use it pretty much anywhere. Like, who's going to accept Apple Card? So maybe like you can ring it up as an Apple Card or a MasterCard. And then maybe if it gets popular enough, they'll abandon the MasterCard portion.
Yeah. I suspect that this is like another like disruptive play. Like they just want to disrupt the whole banking industry.
Well, it's also, they also have the clout and the money to do it.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing too is it's kind of like the Apple Pay thing. Like this is just the next step.
Yeah. Of course.
Because with Apple Pay, I'm not really sure how it works. I think it just pulls straight from your account. You just set it up. And then there's like a small transaction fee. I'm not really sure how it works. I imagine it works a little closer to like PayPal than anything else.
Yeah.
So, but like this is the next step because, think about it. Apple sales are down. Don't get me wrong. They're making tons of money. I'm not saying they're broke or anything.
Right.
Their sales have gone down. So that means you need to diversify. And Apple's getting into cars. What aren't they getting into? Artificial intelligence. Now they're getting into they're getting into banks.
Yeah.
So like they're diversifying their assets so that because like especially if we look back 2 or 3 years ago, if their market had cut in half, Apple would have been in serious trouble. Granted they could have fallen back on their billions of dollars in surplus, but no company likes doing that. So they would have been hurting when you have to dip into your reserves. Although in Apple's case, it's like impressive at how much money they have stored away.
Yeah.
But this diversifies their assets so that if one division kind of falters or whatever, they can prop it up with another one while they build it back up.
Right.
Because most of Apple's money comes from iOS. I guess now it's kind of split because, the operating system split, but that's where the bulk of their cash comes from. So, it makes sense to diversify. Like, it actually makes sense. And the thing I like is no fees, not even hidden ones. Like, I've got to be honest here. I've never had a credit card that has hidden fees.
Oh, yeah. I had fees that were very well known, but like I've never had hidden fees before, I don't think.
Yeah, mine has no hidden fees or fees of any kind, really. I think there's a penalty if I don't use it, like once a year or something. I don't know. I think there was something in there about the card being void or something, and I was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, I'm never gonna have that problem because I pay everything with it. So.
Right. I scrolled down to it says a card that's materially different. It's so different that you can't put it in your freaking wallet. That's so I can't get over how Apple that is.
Yeah. One thing I do like though is the fact that they're going to show how much money you have to pay to avoid interest charges.
Yeah.
That is a really nice feature. My card sort of has that feature. So it just tells me the statement that's due that month, and if I pay that, then there's no interest. That's basically, I guess that's really the same thing. So I don't really know how unique it is, but Apple makes it a lot more obvious, which is nice.
Yeah.
Now, in my case in particular, I only use my credit card, so I don't use my debit card. So I don't spend money that isn't there anyway. Plus, as Americans, it slightly builds up my credit history, so it's all good.
I think I'm like I can scroll with my mouse wheel, but I'm like trying to scroll through this webpage, and I literally
If you get stuck on that stupid interest charge thing, just keep scrolling really hard. Eventually, you'll
I can't
pop right past it.
I can't click on the actual scroll bar and drag it.
Yeah, I know it's stupid.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I know it's stupid. I mean, I can do that, but it froze on me a bit there earlier. This is horribly.
If you're on the web page, scroll down to the part where it says, to create a different kind of card, we worked with a different kind of partner. So you got Goldman Sachs, MasterCard. Look at the hand that's holding that card. It is literally uncanny valley to me. Like, that's not how hands look to me. Like, that looks incredibly off. It is weird. I don't like it. Why does that look so weird?
I don't know.
Like, that's not how fingernails look.
Are you thinking of, well, I mean, some people cut their fingernails into really sharp points.
And then the lady holding the iPhone up a little bit more, a new level of privacy security, she looks uncanny valley too. Like, it just looks...
It's probably just CG or something.
It's what?
Kind of feels like that. It kind of feels like it's CG.
Yeah, it feels off.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? The thing that gets me, though, is we've worked with a different kind of partner. I mean, I don't know what anyone who watches this podcast knows about Goldman Sachs, but you guys should go look it up because
they were
they're not exactly the up and up.
No, they were one of the primary motivating factors in the recession, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. And what was it? Frank or something. And what was it? It's the one that kept giving out all them loans to people that they
Fannie
didn't even
Mae
check.
and Freddie Mac.
Fannie Mae, yes, those two. They're basically like that. I mean, Goldman Sachs, they're an investment bank. So if you bank at Goldman Sachs, you have a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like a lot of money. And not just a couple million. You have a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we bailed them out, which is hilarious because they make a lot of money. Interestingly enough, their revenue is only reported at $36.616 billion, but I believe they hold like $5 trillion worth of assets.
Yikes.
So yeah, it's one of those things where I wonder if they're actually if they don't make more money, we just don't know about it, sort of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Because of how they report it and all. But yeah, they've had a lot of scandals. They've had a lot of controversies and scandals, and like it's like most banks, they're not great. Like, yeah, they carry a lot of assets, but different kind of partner. Different than what? That's what I want to know. Different than what?
They know how to take risks that can end up destroying the economy.
Yes, and making them a lot of money. Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know how Goldman Sachs, and it's the first credit card they've ever issued. Yeah, and they were probably really happy to finally enter the market too, because there's a lot of money in, making these cards. Now I want to know what the interest rate is, because, some people have really bad interest rates on their credit cards. I think the average right now is about 8%, which isn't that bad for a credit card.
Yeah.
Given its ease of use, 8% is pretty good. Some people probably have somewhere between 5 to 8, depending on how good your credit score is and, how good you can negotiate a deal.
Yeah. If you type in APR, number 4 at the bottom of the thing, it ranges from 12.99 to 23.99 APR.
Ugh.
That's
Ouch.
really bad.
Yeah, that's not good at all.
I mean, I think my credit card that I have through, I think Chase, has like a 10% or 10.99% APR, which is still not great.
Wow. Yeah, that's I mean, it is actually pretty decent for a credit card though. Yeah, my bank offers credit cards starting at 10% to 22%.
Yeah. But also,
mine's lower.
Think about the implications of, like, this card is only usable if you have an iPhone, right? If you have if you have an iPhone, that's how you apply for it. You can't get this if you don't have an iPhone.
Well, that's lovely.
Think about the implications of that, right? Let's say that you are not perfectly happy with your iCloud, your iPhone, your Apple ecosystem, but you get this card anyway, right? And let's say I've heard that people are getting like $8,000, $15,000 credit lines from this. Think about that for a second. What does that actually mean? If you have $15,000 in credit issued through Apple's ecosystem, and you decide to leave Apple's ecosystem, that means you can't use the Apple card anymore. And so if you get rid of that account, that's more credit than most people have combined in all of their credit cards. Like I don't even I have like 5 credit cards. I think I might have a total of $7,000 or $8,000 total. And that will screw your credit rating if you get rid of that much credit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, you'll have to do it slowly. I only have 2. One's through Chase and one's through the bank. And Chase offered me, I don't know why, but Chase offered me a couple years ago. It was an obscene amount of credit. And I was just like, no.
No.
And they were like, are you sure? And I was like, hell yeah, I'm sure. Like, it wouldn't like hurt me too bad if I'd gotten rid of it. It would have, tanked me for probably a year and then it would have gone off, But it's like, I don't need that much.
Right.
Like my bank at a minimum, not at a minimum, but they tend to give about $5,000 on credit. And my cards, I believe, are at 8%.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never paid interest on it. I've never paid interest on a credit card, so I don't really care what it is, actually. I do like my 3% back, though.
Yeah. That's nice.
I love my 3% back. Yeah, I love my 3% back. But see, I'm the worst person because it's like if I don't have the money to buy it at hand, I don't use my credit card because there's no way in hell.
Right.
I know credit card interest rates are going up, though. Because I remember it was like 6 or 7 months ago. My bank offered 8%. Now they offer 10%. So, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, mine are going to stay where they are, which I believe is 8%. And yeah, I love my 3% back from Chase. It's awesome. It's really great.
Yep.
I don't get a lot of travel miles, though, but I don't travel, so I don't really care.
I used the cash back that I got on my purchases over the last 2 years to actually buy most of the ticket for going to Linux Fest this year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to look into that. I bet I have a lot of like points just sitting there because I pay all my bills with my credit card. So
yeah,
that's the trick, man. You want good credit? You one, don't rack up debt, and 2, you buy everything with a credit card and then you pay it off. That's the real trick. And everyone's like, "Oh, that's such a terrible idea." No, actually, it's not. If you're in the U.S., it's actually a really good idea. But you have to remember, you don't spend what you don't have.
Yeah.
So if you only have $500, you spend $500 or less. You don't spend more than $500. If you do, then you've just screwed yourself.
Right.
Because credit cards are insane, and most people have like 25+% credit cards. Like,
yeah, it's insane.
Like, oh man, like paying the minimum on $3,000 would probably take you like 80 months or something. Like, and you'd end up paying like $4,500 by the time you're done. So, well, probably maybe closer to $4,000, but still, like that's a lot. That's an extra $1,000. That's insane.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's whatever, but yeah, I just, what blows me away though is that they made all this card and they did all this crap and it's the most fragile thing in existence.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me?
Well,
what are we supposed to do, Apple? Just, you know what? It probably syncs in with Apple Pay and you don't even need it.
Right. They don't send it to you unless you request it. That's the thing. You're supposed to use your phone. And the other thing that I read is that if you have Apple Pay on your phone, right? And it will tell you what your credit card number is. If you get the Apple card, it doesn't have a credit card number written on it anywhere. Not on the front, not on the back. There's no numbers on it. And even in the app, it's a different credit card number than the Apple card that's in your app. And it will only show you the last 4 digits in the app of the physical card's number. It won't even tell you the actual credit card number.
Then how you buy stuff with it on other sites? Like, I don't understand.
You use that credit card number that's for your phone's card rather than the physical card.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
It's truly an Apple experience.
Yeah, it seems overly complicated too. Like,
Yeah.
It seems very complicated.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think about the Apple Card? I would recommend you listen to this PSA and don't ever do that. Don't get an Apple Card. Let us know what you think about this in the forums, forum.heavyelement.io. You can also send us an email, show@offtopical.net, and let us know what you think. So we got a couple pieces of news here, Raven. Did you hear about the YouTube news that's going on?
Oh, you mean people are about to unionize and YouTube's about to be sued into oblivion, so now they're finally doing something about the DMCA abusers? Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So
I think I just summed up that entire thing.
Yeah, you did. There's a bunch of different stories here, and most of them come back to basically the YouTube being sued into oblivion thing. The first thing is that YouTube has like clamped down on copyright, manual copyright claims, and they're trying to disincentivize copyright trolls. Basically, they're not allowing copyright holders to manually claim and then monetize videos with very short clips or unintentional music. I think that this is a freaking awesome thing, and I am happy that they got threatened by a union.
Yeah,
this is literally why it's happening.
Nintendo can go suck itself.
Oh man, Nintendo is awful.
Oh, you have 5 seconds of our music. We now own your 20-minute video.
Yeah.
What? Like, no.
They are truly wicked. But I love their video games.
Just mind blowing, but yeah.
So this is really cool though, because there's a ton of companies that have cropped up, and their sole purpose is to sift through YouTube and like manually claim fair use instances of copyrighted work, and this will hopefully disincentivize them from doing that. I mean, will hopefully cut off all of their revenue, because that's like literally the only reason they exist is to suckle at the teat of YouTube in the most abusive way possible. I don't know. We also have this story of YouTube is now suing a DMCA troll. So a guy is allegedly accused of, he is accused of allegedly attempting to extort YouTubers by abusing the DMCA 3 strikes copyright system. This is an interesting story. What do you think about this story?
Personally, I think it's about time that YouTube actually did something about that instead of just ignoring it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Basically, what this guy did, I can't remember what his name is. I didn't write it down, but it's like right here. It doesn't say. Some kid, Christopher Brady, he allegedly filed multiple false DMCA claims against YouTube channels. And then once they had 2 strikes on their account, he would then try to extort them for money so that he wouldn't give them a 3rd strike and have their channel removed from YouTube.
Yeah, and you could probably message YouTube and they would have just ignored you because they suck. They just don't care.
So it
Unless
took...
you're like...
Yeah, it took
subscribers.
Obby Raids, one of the guys that was the victim of the extortion here. He actually took a screenshot of Brady boy and posted it to Twitter and was like, hey, this guy's like trying to extort me for money. And and then Brady, the troll here, because he had filed these erroneous claims, he actually got access to these YouTubers home addresses and stuff like that. And so he actually allegedly filed, he like performed a SWAT on this guy and like called the law enforcement and said, oh my God, there's a hostage situation. You need to send SWAT. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why you should always contact the police.
That should be tried as attempted murder.
It probably should, honestly. There's new federal laws surrounding swatting, which is why we haven't been having it as often. Still happens, but because people are starting to get some serious jail time for it now.
Yeah.
Like, they got jail time before, but now there's specific laws. You know, they can go to jail for 10 plus years.
Good.
I mean, bye-bye.
Yep.
Have fun. Hope it was worth it. But yeah, he's going to jail, no doubt.
Yeah.
He's going to jail. I mean, even the extortion, like I would have called the cops and been like, dude's trying to extort me, because extortion is legal. Doesn't really matter how you do it. It's still illegal.
Yeah.
Even if all they did was take a police report, I would have let him know, and I would have called your local police department and just let them know that, you know, you've been having a difficult time with someone, and you know that everything's cool, and you might try to SWAT, just to let them know, so that they could check, because police are starting to get better about looking into this stuff now.
Right.
But because usually when someone claims a hostage situation, they can't like they can't just not do anything. They have to take it seriously as it appears before them.
Right.
So it's always a good idea to get involved a little bit,
Yeah.
Be a little proactive just to minimize the damage that it's about to befall you. And YouTube should have never been giving out that information anyway.
I think they are legally required to give out that information because of the DMCA.
Yes, right. But on the other hand, now they're going to make it very difficult because they're going to vet it before. So, which is what they were supposed to be doing in the first place.
Yeah.
The DMCA is not a free rein to just go around and copyright strike anyone. Like, you are legally entitled to vet it before you do anything.
Yeah.
And YouTube is just like, no, we'll just... Because that's how YouTube got around. Remember the early days when everyone was really against YouTube before it started making a lot of money? Remember? They were like, we don't want our stuff on there. And now they make tons of money, so they want it on there. And one of the ways they made it so appealing was they just kind of like rolled over. So...
Yeah. This is insane. Like, I hope that this kid is made an example of. I don't know if he's a kid, but I hope this guy is made an example of. And I hope that YouTube continues to sue the crap out of people who abuse the DMCA. Hopefully we can get some precedents in there that, you can't abuse this crap, especially for like people who are trying to silence, who abuse the DMCAs to silence critics, like that kind of stuff. YouTube should sue over that as well.
Oh yes, I'm so tired of seeing that every single time.
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous.
I watched the Legal Eagle video about this case in particular, and apparently Google is using, or YouTube here is using, like the law firm that Google chooses to represent them in like really high profile cases. And one of the things that the DMCA entitles like safe harbor companies like Google to do is like sue for attorney's fees. And Legal Eagle said basically, if this guy loses, he's going to be on the line for $1,000 an hour for several thousand hours worth of work from this legal firm. He will have to pay the legal fees of Google for suing him. And that's like thousands, if not that's hundreds of thousands, if not $1 million, just for that.
Oh, it's probably more than that. I'd be surprised if they probably do. Those guys might be worth more than $1,000 an hour.
Well, the Legal Eagle says that if you can get a 10% discount, it's about $1,000 an hour.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. He's gonna get hit with a bill so monstrous.
Oh, dude, I know.
And the thing is, some of those things, because some people are like, well, they'll just file for bankruptcy.
No,
it's a funny thing. A lot of people seem to think that if you file for bankruptcy, it's like some kind of magic bullet and all your debt's wiped away. You go before a judge, and a judge gets to decide what gets wiped away and what doesn't. You can get a bad judge that says, nah, you have to pay it all back. There's no guarantee that typically, yeah, most people do get stuff. But if you get sued in court, they might just be like, sorry, we're just going to, your wages are going to be garnished for the rest of your life. You'll never be able to pay it back.
Yeah.
Like, your life is effectively ruined. Not just that, he's going to be doing all this from a jail cell, so I have no idea I'd even pay him in the first place.
Right.
What's he going to do? Give him $100 a year?
Something like that.
Like, he's not going to have any money. Because that's the thing. You can garnish people's wages in jail.
Oh, yeah.
So he won't be able to get anything from the prison store. Because he will be broke. He will have no money. The whole thing will be garnished.
Yeah.
He will literally have the most miserable experience in jail ever. As if being in jail is a good experience. So, take that for what it is. Like, it's just going to be awful.
Yep.
And he deserves it. Because he brought it on himself. No one made him go out and be an asshole like that. He chose to do it. And
Yeah.
now he's got to pay the price.
I hope that YouTube will go after more people who are abusing DMCA, because we really need the DMCA.
Oh, Nintendo needs to be brought in line. They abuse the DMCA constantly.
Yeah.
But, with this new ruling, they'll probably back off. Because,
hopefully.
I would hope so. Because, Nintendo's wealthy, but so is Google. So, and I would love to see those two companies just throw themselves at each other. It's always funny when multi-billion-dollar companies throw their weight around.
Yeah.
Because they all have like basically the same legal team, so it's really weird and awkward for everyone. It's like going against their coworker type shit.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's not really, but it's like, because there's only so many high-profile legal teams in the world, and they all have billions of dollars, and they can all afford them. So it wouldn't surprise me if they have multiple different firms just because of that instance, so there's no conflict of interest.
Mm.
It's ridiculous, man. It is truly ridiculous. But, I mean, it is what it is, and hopefully YouTube will get it sorted, because it's been a problem for way too long.
Yeah.
And YouTube needs to do better protection, because if someone got the idea to swat someone based off that information, YouTube needs to correct that immediately.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. And the last YouTube story that we have is YouTube's algorithm has flagged and removed animal fighting videos, but they're of robots battling each other.
I was thinking about this when I saw the show notes. I was like, is this robots that look like animals, or is this like their AI algorithm being like, don't hurt my father?
I know, right?
I know it's a really good thing to joke, but what are they training these algorithms? Because most of these robot fights, they don't look like anything like animals. So what the hell is going on with this algorithm?
Yeah, I have no idea.
It needs some work, Google. It needs some work. They're inanimate objects. They don't feel anything. They're just remote controlled objects of metal and copper, and copper is metal, but it's just they're just hunks of metal, man, and plastic. That's it. Maybe a little bit of something flammable, but other than that, they're not living.
Yeah.
And before someone's like, computers are people too.
I mean, if there were like two Commander Datas and they were forced to fight each other, I could see that maybe being bad, because they look very, very human. But
well, we've all seen, I've seen the video in question. It's like, there is no way that looks like an animal.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like
They probably just picked up fighting and then was just booted it, it can tell fighting.
Yeah. I think that it must have been like the title or something.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes these robots can look kind of violent, but they don't look like animals. That's the thing. And so it's like, I don't know, YouTube. You got to get that.
Yeah. And the other thing too is like, I don't know, YouTube's trying to be more friendly, which is weird, because the more friendly they try to be, the worse they get. So maybe they should just, go back to 2004 YouTube and let anybody do whatever they want.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that's a much better idea.
The takedown notices make clear that the video has been reviewed, quote unquote, by YouTube first. This raises questions about what these reviews look like. Is the reviewer a computer program? It seems unlikely that humans actually looked at the videos in question. Yeah. I don't know, man. This is so...
It's hard to say. Either way, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very stupid, but it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's not quite as stupid as a credit card you can't keep in your wallet next to other cards or in your denim pockets, but it's pretty dumb.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. What do you guys think about this BattleBot BattleBot Theater mishap, let us know in the forums. Forum.heavyelement.io. We got the show notes over there. You can see a link to all the stories we talked about today. Raven, I thought this was going to be a longer episode, but we're only at like an hour 15.
You made me stop talking about Librem. That's what happened. You made me stop talking about it.
Right.
Yeah.
I did do that, didn't I?
You did. This is all on you.
Well, I mean, we could go back to it, but you know what? I gotta use the bathroom. So I think that's gonna be it for this episode. Thank you for being here, Raven, as always.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
This has been the Off Topical Podcast. Let's do this again soon.